Hi friends, and welcome to Keto with Libby. I am Libby, and today we are going to be talking about keto myths and facts and how I typically respond to these comments about these keto myths and facts in real life. So recently I've been getting a few more, I wouldn't say negative comments, just more comments coming from a place of misunderstanding. And I really just want to debunk some of the myths, give some facts, and also give you guys the tools on how to respond to these comments when you come upon them in real life or on social media. So let's jump into it. The first one I hear all the time: I could not eat that much fat. I can't stomach that much fat. You have to eat so much fat on keto. Now, I did an entire dedicated video because I hear this so much. So I'll link that in the cards above. But I think people just picture us eating sticks of butter, Crisco straight from the tub, adding cheese to literally everything. And that is just not the case. A lot of times I get my fats from the meats that I eat, the nuts that I eat, avocados, healthy oils, things like that. Not necessarily from the butters and all of the other things that people just think we do. Now, I do eat butter and I do eat cheese, but there are people who do keto completely dairy-free. So that kind of debunks that myth right there anyways. And the role of fat on keto is to keep us satiated. The fat is not what puts us into ketosis or even keeps us in ketosis. Fat is what keeps us satiated and gives us our energy and fuel for our bodies. So when I hear people say this one, my usual response is, yes, keto is a high-fat diet, but we're not just eating sticks of butter and cheese all the time. A lot of it comes from our meats, our nuts, and the avocados and things like that that we eat. I just keep it short, simple, sweet. They can't really argue with that. At least that's what I have found. And it is true. That is what we focus on, is keeping us satiated and making sure we're eating healthy fats. Keto is not sustainable for the long term. It is way too restrictive. Nobody could eat like that for long term. Anybody else heard this one? I hear this one a lot. Keto is seen as restrictive because we cut out carbs. And most of the time, 90% of our diet is made of carbs. That's exactly how I was before I started keto. Carbs were life. Pasta, breads, all of it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. So when people say I'm cutting out carbs, they're like, holy crap, that's 90% of what I eat. And then I'm left with like this 10% chunk. Well, when you think of it that way, it's definitely really daunting. But really what we're doing is we're cutting out the processed foods, the crap foods, the sugars, the carbs that cause our blood sugar to spike, which causes our insulin to spike. And for most of us, that causes insulin resistance, leading to type 2 diabetes. So how I respond to this one is I have cut out all of the processed foods. I focus on the whole natural foods. And if there are any foods I feel like I need, there is always a substitute recipe for it, like the keto breads, keto ice creams that I can make. Your body needs carbs. You have to eat carbs. Carbs are essential. That was a little aggressive, but I do really feel like that's how some people are talking to me. Like, your body needs carbs. Okay, I get it. I get it. We have been taught our entire lives that carbs are our fuel. Carbs fuel our body. But nobody has ever taught us that there is another fuel source, which is ketones. You have your glucose fuel and you have your ketone fuel, which are two very, very different things. When we cut out the carbs, our body is pushed into a state of ketosis, which means we are using the fat on our body to produce ketones, which our body then runs on for energy. Therefore, we do not need carbs, sugar for fuel. Also, any glucose that our body needs, it can make itself through the process of gluconeogenesis. Now, I did find a few research articles that I will link below on the whole our body, our brain, everything needs carbs, because there has been a lot of research in the last 5 years to disprove this myth So I will link those down below. They are good reads. I highly suggest them, and they do help explain this a little bit more in depth. So what I say when people tell me your body needs carbs, I say, yeah, if you're running your body on glucose for fuel, you absolutely need carbs. My body runs on ketones. I am in ketosis, therefore my needs for glucose and carbs are non-existent. Also, fun fact, there is no such thing as an essential carb. There are essential proteins and essential fats, but no essential carbs. So I do like to throw that one out as well. The next one is keto is a fad diet. Now, I looked up the definition of a fad diet, and a fad diet is a diet that becomes popular quickly given the promise of very fast weight loss results. We all know that there is a lot of people who get very fast weight loss results on keto, and it has become pretty popular over the last 5 years. So by those standards, yeah, sure, keto is a fad diet. But it has been around for forever. It was initially developed to help kids with epilepsy, and it is now being used for that same exact reason, but it also can be used to help manage type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance, as well as weight loss. But really, any diet is a fad diet if you think of it as a short-term, quick fix to your problems. It really has to come down to a lifestyle change. For me, keto has been a complete lifestyle change. I'm not going back to the way that I used to eat because keto makes me feel good and it is how I feel my best. And my favorite saying is from Dr. Berg, and he says, weight loss is a side effect of getting healthy. And that is exactly what our body is doing on keto. So I do understand why people think it's a fad diet, and it's just like anything else. If you think of it as a diet, and you don't do the things to make it a lifestyle change, you're probably going to fall off of it, much like I did for a long time until I had this mindset switch. So no, keto is not a fad diet if you don't treat it like it is one. So when people say to me, keto is a fad diet, it doesn't last, blah, 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 I always say any diet is a fad if you treat it like a quick solution. This is my lifestyle now. This is how I eat. And that is that. Now, the next one, I completely understand why there is a lot of misconceptions around it and myths, because it is ketosis and ketoacidosis. So let's kind of go over the differences of those two. Now, they both produce ketones, obviously, but ketosis is when you are getting into a state of nutritional ketosis. And that means that you are eating low carb, which then puts your body into the state of ketosis, which means you are burning your fat for fuel, which is then produced into ketones, and you are running on ketones. Now, if you are in nutritional ketosis, there is very little chance you are ever going to get up to the point of ketoacidosis. Ketoacidosis happens when your body produces too much ketones, therefore shooting you into dangerously high levels of ketones. Now, this is usually only a complication in type 1 diabetics, and if you are doing nutritional ketosis, you are typically never going to get into that range. So whenever somebody says to me, yeah, but what about ketoacidosis? You could go into ketoacidosis. I just try to give a general, no, you can't, if you're in nutritional ketosis, this is the range. And if you're in ketoacidosis, it starts at X, Y, and Z. There is a difference, and you can't technically put yourself into ketoacidosis through nutritional ketosis. And I also found a few research articles on this as well that will be linked down below in the description if you would like to know more about ketosis and ketoacidosis. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really hope that video helped you. I hope that it helps you kind of understand some things about keto, as well as gives you some tools to have better, more educated conversations with people and just help spread the word on how keto works, how it helps, all of those good things. So thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll be talking to you real soon. Bye!